What are carbohydrates and are they bad for me? This is a loaded question that I get asked very often. Let's start out with what carbohydrates are. Carbohydrates, or carbs, I will refer to them, is basically sugar. So every time we eat food that contains carbs, it gets broken down into our body as something called glucose. Glucose is what we call the sugar in our blood. Carbs is one of the main nutrients out of three that are in all food and drink. Macronutrients, we call them. The thing is, not all carbohydrates are created equal. That's the most important thing to know, I think, about carbohydrates. There are two types: simple carbs and complex carbs. So let's start with simple. Simple carbs are basically like white bread and white pasta and baked goods and candy and things like that. Simple carbs, we eat them and they cause they're quickly digested, so they cause a quick spike in blood sugar where you'll get like that burst of energy, right? So I'm sure you know what I'm talking about with your kids running around like crazy after they had, some candy. But then after that quick spike, you kind of crash down after. That's when you feel kind of gross, tired, kind of groggy. That's what simple carbs do. Simple carbs can contribute to weight gain, especially if it's one of the main things that you eat. That can really contribute to weight gain. On the other hand, there's something called complex carbohydrates. This is the type that I think many people overlook. Complex carbohydrates are things like brown rice and oats and oatmeal, quinoa, whole wheat, barley, things like that. Any of the ancient grains are complex carbohydrates. Of course, whole wheat bread, whole wheat pasta, things like that, all complex carbohydrates. What's interesting about those is, unlike simple carbohydrates, they don't cause that quick spike in blood sugar. So you don't get that burst of energy. It has much of more moderate effect on our blood sugar. Why is this? Well, it's due to a nutrient called fiber. Fiber is one of my favorite nutrients, and I think it is hugely underrated. So fiber helps with many different things. It helps with weight maintenance. It helps with disease prevention, such as cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and so much more. So fiber stays in our system longer, right? So we don't digest it as quickly. What's great about that is we stay full for a longer period of time. That's what we want, right? When it comes to weight loss, the main goal is to not get hungry so often. So what can we eat that, will keep us full for a longer period of time and won't cause us to gain weight? So the thing about fiber also is that we don't digest it really. So it stays in our system and much of it is not digested. So it's filling us up and we're not even taking all the calories from it and adding to our daily caloric intake. That, is one of the biggest benefits of fiber in terms of weight maintenance. Fiber also helps with digestion and constipation. It really helps all around. So fiber is an excellent nutrient that's part of carbohydrates. So when someone says, they're going on the keto diet or the Atkins diet or something like that, and they're cutting out carbohydrates, I have a problem with that because you're cutting out fiber. You know, again, not all carbohydrates are created equally. So to cut them all out really isn't a good idea. I think what the main thing is to eat simple carbohydrates in moderation, right? Keep an eye on how much of those type of carbs you eat. That will help in terms of not gaining weight or maybe even weight loss. Um, but for the complex carbohydrates, you actually want to increase them in your diet. You know, that's really important for, again, a number of things. So you want to decrease and increase at the same time. That's kind of the story about carbohydrates. The other carbohydrate I want to point out is fruit. So, fruit is a carbohydrate. It actually causes kind of that quick spike in energy. If you have a big bowl of fruit, you'll get, that quick burst of energy. So, but the benefits of the fruit are all the vitamins, the minerals, the antioxidants, things like that. So it's actually a healthy way to get that burst of energy. Fruit is good if you're kind of tired and you're looking for a little bit of a boost. It's also really good for athletes. So a lot of times, we'll tell athletes maybe shortly before a game or practice or workout, maybe having some dried fruit, nuts, things like that. So that helps to give them a quick burst of energy again, but it's healthy. So as you can see, carbohydrates kind of get a bad rap. A lot of people view them as bad, and that, you can't eat them or you're going to get fat and you won't lose any weight. So that's the quick story on carbohydrates.